What are 3 things that you should never buy from the cruise line? Stick around to the end because the last one will surprise you. Let's talk about that. Well, howdy there, Boundless Escapes family. It's your favorite country boy once again. Today I have a special treat for you. I'm going to tell you 3 things that you should never buy from the cruise line. And the last one is going to surprise you. We're going to start off with our first item that you should never buy from the cruise line. And that's cruise line insurance. You should never buy cruise line insurance because it only covers you while you're on your cruise. That's why it's called cruise line insurance. The problem is you have to get from your house to the cruise ship, or from your house to the airport to the cruise ship, and in reverse, either from the cruise ship back to your house, or from the cruise ship to the airport back to your house. Either way, you see the problem, correct? So you should always buy your travel insurance from your travel advisor. They usually have travel insurance, like my travel advisor can sell me a 1-trip policy or an annual policy. If you're making more than 1 vacation a year, whether it be a cruise or land vacation, doesn't matter. Sometimes an annual policy is actually the best way to go. It'll cover you for all your vacations, all your trips for a 12-month calendar year. So always look into that. Always buy your travel insurance from your travel advisor. The number 2 thing to never buy from the cruise line are shore excursions. I know the cruise lines threaten you with, if you're late to the ship, we will leave you. Rarely does that ever happen. For number 1, it's bad for business. The people that usually get left back at the cruise ship are people who just sit at the bar way too long and are way too drunk to get back to the cruise ship. Every cruise port that you will stop in, all the tour operators, whether it's a cruise line operation, a shore excursion that is sold by your travel advisor, a shore excursion sold by a third-party person, or whether you just wait to get off the ship and pick up a shore excursion from a local vendor. The people and the local vendors on the shore are the same people that run the shore excursions for the cruise line, the shore excursion for your travel agents, and the shore excursion for the third parties. All of them travel vendors know more about your travel itinerary than you do. They know exactly what ships are coming on what day, what time they are going to arrive, what time that they're going to leave. They know the travel itinerary for the entire month for every ship that will be in that port. They know more about your cruise than you know about your cruise. The shore excursions that the cruise lines buy are the same exact shore excursions you can get from your travel agent. All shore excursions come with a return to the ship guarantee, or that shore excursion provider, which there's basically one shore excursion provider that provides all the shore excursions, whether it's from your travel advisor or the cruise line or a third party. They're all the same shore excursions. The only difference is the cruise line marks them up 30% over what your travel advisor can get them for you for, because they still have to make a profit. They're going to make a profit. The cruise lines are in the business of making money. No matter how they have to get it, they're going to get it. And if threatening you to be left at the pier if you're late, get you to buy it on board, they're going to do it. The only exception to that is Like me and my wife in 2026, in January 2026, we're going on Haul in America. Part of our package with Haul in America is we get $200 per person short excursion credit for a total of $400, which is awesome because one of the short excursions we want to go on is nearly $600. So instead of paying out $600 out of our pocket, we're going to use that short excursion credit and only give the cruise line $100 and some odd dollars. Now, if you have a short excursion credit, and I'm not talking about NCL because there's a $50 short excursion credit, but it only applies to the first guest. The second guest still has to pay full price. So you're only getting a $50 credit off the first guest. It's not really a good deal. But if you can find a short excursion cheap enough, especially if it's $50 or less, then the second person pays full price. You're basically getting half price. But that is the only reason, is if you're getting a short excursion credit. Or if you have onboard credit and you're not a gambler, you're not a drinker, you're not going to buy nothing in the gift shops, you have absolutely nothing to use that onboard credit for except for a short excursion, and you want to take a short excursion. That's another reason why I would use Cruiseline short excursions. It's just for that fact. But I always have a use for onboard credit besides short excursions. The number 3 thing to never, ever buy from the cruise line. That's right. The cruise itself. That's right. You never buy a cruise from the cruise line. I know that sounds silly, but you're never going to get the best deal. Why? If you go to carnival.com and you look up a cruise, the cruise line has no reason to incentivize you to book that cruise. Why? Because you came directly to Carnival. They know you're going to book a cruise on Carnival. There's a pretty good chance you're going to book a cruise on Carnival because you went to carnival.com. They're going to know there's a pretty good chance you're not sitting there on RoyalCaribbean.com, Norwegian.com, Princess.com, HaulinAmerica.com, and just being like, well, let's see what kind of cruise we can get for June in the Caribbean on all these cruise lines. That's what travel advisors are for. That's their job. That's what they do. Always use a travel advisor. The payment for a travel advisor, whether you use one or not, if you book a cruise on Carnival.com, you paid for the use of travel advisor, even though you sat there and booked it yourself on Carnival.com. The travel advisor fee is already figured into the price of the cruise. It's not that the cruise line says, oh, Alicia just booked a cruise for Patricia Banks. We need to pay her. No. That payment is already figured in the price of your cruise. You're paying for a travel advisor whether you use one or not. The difference is if you book directly through Carnival.com and something comes up and you call Carnival, you're going to get the runaround. You're going to have to wait on the phone until they get around to answering you. You book through a travel agent and a problem comes up and you call your travel agent. In my case, I call up and say, hey, Joslynn, yeah, I got a problem. Your travel advisor calls the cruise line on a dedicated line just specifically for travel advisors. Most of the time, they're going to get through within the next couple of minutes because the people at Carnival that answer the phones, they know that line is a travel advisor calling in. Not just a regular customer, but a travel advisor. They're going to take that call before they take your call. So the travel advisor is going to get the help much, much faster. Travel advisors have special numbers for everything from airlines, hotels, cruise lines, you name it. they have special numbers that they call that you are not privileged to. And they know that the travel advisor calling, so they're going to get further. They got more traction on the ground than you do when calling these numbers. So if you call up your travel advisor and say, hey, my flight's been canceled, and they say there's no other flights leaving for Baltimore today, I have to wait till tomorrow, I'm going to miss the cruise ship. Your travel advisor will look up your information and say, oh, you're on American? Okay, give me a few minutes, I'll call you back. And they'll call the airline on their travel agent number, and they'll say, hey, I got a client, needs to get from Dallas to Boston, and has to get there today because their cruise ship leaves at 4. Your travel advisor just pull the strings that it takes to get you on that plane, if at all possible. Cruiseline will not help you with that. So always book your cruise through your travel advisor. Because by going through a travel advisor, there is like 25 to 30 different cruise lines. A lot of people don't even know. They only know like a handful of cruise lines, just a small smidgen of the actual cruise lines that are out there. There's like 25 or 30 different cruise lines out there. 25 or 30 different cruise lines that are vying for your dollar, for your once-a-year vacation dollar. So the cruise lines are going to give special incentives to cruise lines to incentivize them to put you on that cruise ship. Just like June 6th, 7th, and 8th, my travel advisor will be offering up to $1,200 onboard credit for anybody that she puts on Princess for the 24, 25, 26 sailing season. So give her a call if you're interested in going on Princess. This is a once-a-year sale that will be happening on June 6th, 7th, and 8th, up to $1,200 onboard credit. So remember that. Anytime you want to book a cruise, call your travel advisor because they are incentivized by the cruise lines to get you on that cruise ship. They are incentivized with stuff that you can't even touch. You will never get offers for. Why? Because you're going to the cruise line website and you're booking a cruise directly through the cruise line. They have no reason to incentivize you. Always remember to book through a travel advisor because you've already paid for them. Why not use them? So that is your 3 things to never buy from a cruise line. If you find this information helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so every time I post something new, which is virtually every day, you'll get notified of it.